This 17 News at Noon podcast is brought to you by Clinica Sierra Vista.
Welcome back to the 17 News at Noon podcast, where we share your news on your schedule. Fire crews continue to comb through the debris of a devastating fire that swept through a converted row house, killing at least 13 people, including 7 children in Philadelphia. One of the reasons fire investigators think so many may have gotten trapped. Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. I'm Maddie Jansen. We begin with that national news in Philadelphia, where at least 13 people, 7 of them children, died when a fire swept through a row house early this morning. The home was converted into a duplex and used as apartments by the city housing authority. 8 people lived in one unit that spanned the first and second floors, while 18 others resided in another unit that took up the second and third floors. Fire officials say there was heavy fire coming from the kitchen area on the second floor, heading to the third.
The fire was extinguished, and it was terrible. I've been around for 35 years now, and this is probably one of the worst fires I've ever been to.
It took about 50 minutes to control the blaze. By late morning, fire crews were still going through the rubble and feared there may be more victims. In addition to the 13 fatalities, 2 people are in critical condition. Fire officials say there were 4 smoke detectors in the building, but none of them were working. The urban block is just a 15-minute walk from the Philadelphia Museum of Art, home of the famed Rocky Steps. And meantime, back here at home, fire officials confirmed that a body was found inside an abandoned home that caught fire early this morning. Bakersfield fire officials confirming this morning that one person's dead after the fire at the abandoned home on Verde Street. It broke out just after 4:30 a.m. and fire crews quickly put the flames out before finding the body inside. No word on whether that victim died in the fire or of other causes. No indication yet of what may have started the blaze. And arson investigators are still trying to find out how a fire tore through a vacant building in downtown Bakersfield. The Bakersfield Fire Department says they were called to 1st and T Streets just after 7 p.m. last night, and that smoke and flames were showing from the boarded-up home when fire crews arrived. A second alarm was called before firefighters were able to put out the flames. No injuries reported. Neighbors tell 17 News this is the second fire at this location in as many months. 17 Court Watch now. A man shot multiple times by Delano police Sunday did not appear for a set court date yesterday because he's still in the hospital. Eddie Figueroa was involved in a shootout with police Sunday. A police dog named Axel was also wounded. More than 30 shots were fired by police in the exchange of gunfire. Figueroa is said to be stable. Meantime, Delano police posted new photos this morning showing K9 Axel recovering after being sent home from the veterinary hospital. The post says Axel's doing great and receiving lots of love and support from the community as well as his handler. Delano PD says it's too early to tell whether Axel will be able to return to work, but they'll keep everyone updated on his recovery. And operators of Cornerstone Bakery, who are close to the K9 Axel's handler, are asking the public to donate for a K9 care basket for that wounded police dog. They're accepting donations of chew toys and doggy treats at the store located on 19th Street in downtown Bakersfield. The Cornerstone Bakery is open 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. during the week and 8 a.m. to noon on Saturday. The surge in coronavirus cases continues as the more contagious Omicron variant spreads across Kern County. This morning we learned another 607 people have tested positive for the virus. The daily average has increased 190% in a month, most likely a result of mass gatherings during the holidays. Hospitalizations are not spiking as quickly as cases, but we are seeing a small uptick in new admissions. 144 people are in the hospital with more severe symptoms, 33 people in the ICU. No new deaths were reported. As Omicron cases keep surging across the country, a clash between a teachers union and school officials in Chicago closes classes for the day. Meantime, new details from the CDC on isolating and testing. Stephanie Gosk has more.
This morning, another clash between educators and cities over COVID, ending with kids in Chicago staying home. The teachers union in the nation's third largest school district voted Tuesday to switch to remote learning, demanding more testing and adjustments to the new COVID surge. City leaders responded by canceling school altogether, even remote learning for most of the district's 330,000 students.
There is no basis in the data, the science, or common sense for us to shut an entire system down.
It's part of the pressure on schools and parents as COVID cases skyrocket, and some have found guidance from authorities confusing. The CDC now clarifying its quarantine guidance again after it cut COVID isolation down from 10 days to 5 for asymptomatic people without requiring a negative test. But the agency is again under fire from medical experts who say the guidelines are still confusing and still don't require a negative COVID test after sick people are done isolating at home for 5 days. Instead, the newest guidance unveiled Tuesday simply says people who have access to a rapid test and want to take it should. The CDC says a positive result on a rapid test after you self-quarantine means you should keep isolating for another 5 days. Those who don't have tests and are asymptomatic or feeling better on day 5 can head out with a well-fitting mask.
That's where it's still ambiguous. It's hard to ask people to judge their own symptoms.
COVID cases are exploding from coast to coast. The sheer volume of sick people is taking a toll on the entire country.
Right now, we have more COVID patients in the ICU than we ever have.
Understaffed before this surge hit, hospitals are now dealing with health workers getting sick too.
We're all pulling extra shifts. We're all taking care of more patients than we ever have. We are tired and frustrated.
This is a real showdown in Chicago. The teachers union voted to go remote over concerns about testing and cases. And then the mayor, Lori Lightfoot, stepped in and raised the stakes. She called it an illegal walkout and then canceled classes altogether.
Hello, this is Tim Callahan with Clinica Sierra Vista, and we're excited to unveil the Community Health Center of the Future, our comprehensive care center. It's located right across the street from Memorial Hospital. We have every service under one roof, from family medicine, OBGYN care, dental services for adults and children, behavioral health, and much more. So find your way to better care at Clinica Sierra Vista this year at our comprehensive care center. Visit our website, clinicasierravista.org, for the latest on this project. We'll see you soon.
Making news around the state. In the aftermath of a massive sewage spill, several popular beaches along the San Pedro coastline have reopened to swimmers and surfers. But all beaches in Long Beach remain closed. Complications remain days after 8.5 million gallons of foul-smelling sewage poured from a 48-inch main in Carson. That sewage streamed into the Dominguez Channel, then flowed to the LA Harbor. Some of the sewage also ran down the streets in Carson and up onto people's lawns. LA County sanitation crews have been hitting the streets to clean up the mess. Neighbors also have the option to have their grass replaced. Education news now. Grad Night is returning to Disney California Adventure this year. This comes after coronavirus concerns forced the Anaheim theme park to cancel back-to-back years of the graduation celebrations. It had been an annual high school senior tradition for decades. Grad Night 2022 celebrations will take place on 16 dates in May and June. Ticket prices range from $89 to $179. KNER 17 Health Watch, teenagers aren't getting enough exercise because of COVID, according to a new study. Researchers from the U.S. and Canada say just 9% of American teens are getting enough physical activity. That's already down from a dismal 16% just prior to the pandemic. Health experts recommend 60 minutes of physical activity a day. The study found that most were getting an average of 2 hours per week. Next time you're watching TV with your kids, try to keep the conversation going. That's according to researchers at the University of Michigan who are studying the harmful effects of too much screen time. Scientists there found that talking to your kids while they're locked into their favorite show or movie reduces some of the developmental drawbacks that stem from too much technology. Our nation is in the midst of a blood shortage, and officials are calling it desperate, worsened by the ongoing pandemic. Here at home, our local blood banks continue to be taxed, but they're inviting the community to make a resolution to end the shortage. The American Red Cross is pleading with the public to donate, saying stores have reached historically low levels. To spur more donors, Houchin's holding a new contest offering a free Peloton exercise bike for one lucky winner. The bike was provided by Kern Family Healthcare. Anyone who donates this month is eligible, and you can enter multiple times by donating again as you donate platelets every 7 days. Or you can, rather. As always, to donate, register ahead of time at hcbb.com. The 17 News at Noon podcast is a production of KGET and Nexstar Media Group. For more on all of the headlines in today's show, head to kget.com.